Status Podcast.
And also, when I first came in, I think the coach's thoughts were like, yes, he can have an immediate impact, but initially, I think it was just like, okay, this kid does stuff right, like the way he works out, the way he carries himself in the building. I think initially, what like Coach Wash was the main guy who recruited me. What he took notice of was like, okay, Max is doing things the right way here at school so far. And so by the time training camp came around, when they gave me a couple reps, I just ran with it. I had to do what I had to do.
Thank you for tuning into the Status Podcast, where Dana, Ty, and Zay encourage student athletes to take action to universally succeed. The Status Podcast is designed to achieve encompassment of the student athlete and their journeys while navigating multiple avenues. Our goal is to discuss, analyze, and create powerful ways that our student athletes can benefit from using their platform to grow holistically. The Status Podcast will feature topics that can open the eyes of student athletes to endless possibilities in sports and beyond. We, as former student athletes, are passionate about the student athlete experience and using our personal testimonies to repurpose the journey of the life, sports, and education. We plan to capitalize on opportunities to speak on topics regarding the wellness of student athletes, both physically and mentally. We will use our voices to empower and supply the world's athletes with tools to be successful during and after their student athlete experience. Be sure to follow our Instagram at status412_.
But yeah, man, we just wanted to make sure we got you on, bro. Talk about your student athlete experience, man. I know you were super passionate about what you did at BC, and we wanted to get you on to hear about all of that, man. You coming from Atlanta, Georgia, up to Boston College, and you really came up and really embraced Boston, embraced BC, and BC embraced you. So you came up and you did it right. So we wanted to make sure we got you on to kind of hear about that, man. But before we do that, I want to pull this up real quick.
No matter what happens, this group is for life. It's one tempo for all of us. We get the call, we echo the shirt, and we knock shit loose. Let's go!
AKs is, we like the baby kids. Hey, but daddy, I listen to suckers the same way that Ray did. I'm talking Smithers and HKs, and I just was a grade A kid. Ain't on no guy, and we grew up with hitters and did everything they said. Point out the block, we spinning that. Running the spot, we getting that. Give us some work, we flipping that. I'm hitting from Jet, I ain't hitting back. I need a lawyer, money for commissary, ain't nobody.
Boy.
Hey.
How it feel whenever you watch something like that?
That's what's up. I appreciate it, Ty. It's good to see that, because
how that make you feel though, man?
It makes me feel great. It always it puts a little confidence in me. It like talks a little life into me just by watching what I was doing at the college level.
No doubt, and it was special, man. I know I got the chance to coach you freshman year, and whenever you came in and the instant impact that you made, I know you played a lot of special teams, but we were able to see, instantly, like, this kid's gonna be special.
And also, when I first came in, I think the coach's thoughts were like, yes, he can have an immediate impact, but initially, I think it was just like, okay, this kid does stuff right. Like the way he works out, the way he carries himself in the building. I think initially what like Coach Wash was the main guy who recruited me. What he took notice of was like, okay, Max is doing things the right way here at school so far. And so by the time training camp came around, when they gave me a couple reps, I just ran with it. I had to do what I had to do.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it was it was impressive to see you coming from Atlanta, Georgia. Woodward Academy is a football factory, pretty much. You got guys like Andrew Adams, who was my teammate, who just won a Super Bowl, who went to Woodward. You got J.R. Pace, who was at Northwestern, who did great things there, who was your teammate. I wish we got J.R. at BC, but we couldn't land him. Talk about Woodward, man, and how that experience was in high school and how that kind of prepared you for college.
Woodward was an awesome experience, and it was even cooler that, like you mentioned, when I was getting recruited, I had different guys able to come on the visits with me. It was almost like BC was recruiting us in pairs, because, like you said, Woodward was one of the private schools in Atlanta that has a real hotbed for the talent. It's located on the south side of town, right by the airport. So a lot of college coaches' first stop or first or second, they come right through, we call it the academy. And when we started getting really good at football about my senior year, it was about 10 of us on the team that ended up accepting Division I offers.
Ooh,
And
damn. So were y'all ranked?
not nationally ranked, but we were top 10 in the state.
Yeah, I asked that because that's a lot of D1 players coming from one team.
Yeah.
Wow.
We was always looking for some respect.
Let's go.
We were a good private school.
Right now.
And as far as working hard in the weight room, studying at the football meetings, Woodward did a great job of preparing all of us for the entire college experience. It's really a great school, and it's a pretty diverse private schools. I think it's one of the biggest in Atlanta.
That's dope. It's crazy, man. Atlanta's been pumping them out lately, football wise, and it's been about 5-10 years of that.
It's probably been a lot longer.
It's been longer. It's just like
years, boy.
He said 2000, huh? Since before Cam Newton. Where Cam Newton go to like Warner Robins? Look,
Cam Newton went to Westlake High School. Yep.
Westlake. Okay. Look, bro. When he was graduating from Auburn, there was a big billboard talking about, like, you know what I mean? I remember just around that time, a big billboard from his high school thanking him. But man, that's crazy. That I never knew about that. The academy. You leave the airport and come straight there. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
So being all the way from Atlanta, what took you to Boston College?
Initially, it was Coach Washington, who was the running backs coach. He now coaches for Ohio State. He did a great job of recruiting, selling me the family aspect and all of that. But I really got to experience it on the visits. There was two guys from Atlanta. One's name is Miles Willis. He was older. And one's name is Will Harris, who now plays for the Detroit Lions. Okay. And they were guys from Atlanta and really showed me, this is a team where we care a lot about each other. And we don't take it for granted these 4 years of college where you're just part of this college team and you're playing with the best friends you're ever going to have for the rest of your life. So those two guys really inspired me to want to be a Boston College student athlete and want to develop into the type of like young men those guys were on the field and off.
Right. Okay.
That's great.
Did you have any other place in mind? I see you had quite a few offers. Where else was you close to going to?
Duke was probably my other big option, but Georgia Tech and Northwestern were schools that offered, and BC was the only official visit I ended up taking. So I was locked in there.
Did you feel that? Did you feel that family experience that they were talking about on your visit whenever you got on campus?
For sure. I felt that the locker room at BC was really tight. But also everybody wanted to, on the weekends, kind of hang out with each other. What was the team doing was always the question, and that when I continued on to become a leader at school, I really wanted to make it I wanted to help continue pushing the team in the right direction as far as family aspect, being together, camaraderie. I think that's something we've built upon every single year at BC.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That family experience, on your team is huge. Just whenever you talk about, team success on the playing field. So
for sure,
that was big time. So whenever you were growing up, man, you come from a real athletic family. So your dad played at Michigan. Both of your sisters were great athletes. And you being the youngest, how did that kind of shape your life as a young student athlete, seeing your sisters be so successful in sports, and then seeing your dad and his background? Did that put any kind of pressure on you, or did you just take it all in?
I would say no pressure, but it was ultimate competitiveness. My household was so competitive from the jump. My oldest sister went through Woodward and collected a bunch of D1 offers in softball. And then my middle sister came through and collected D1 offers to Michigan in lacrosse. So by the time I was in high school, I felt personally that I had to go to school on scholarship and be a great athlete in order to follow suit with what was going on with my family. And prior to me coming to BC, when my sister accepted Michigan, it's kind of like the family school. My father did play football there back in the day. My mom also went there and played basketball back in the day. So when my sister accepted there, I would always be around campus, the football camps, meeting the coaches, who was Coach Harbaugh and Coach Don Brown, who had just recruited me at BC. So I thought maybe my path was going to take me to Michigan, but fate had other plans. And so I'm glad I went to BC to start my own route and put my own foot forward as far as a student athlete in our family.
Did Michigan ever offer you?
They did not, no.
How was that? Was that like, personally, was that like, heartbreaking, to be around there, seeing your sister, your dad, your mom go there, and probably feeling that like, okay, I want to follow those footsteps too. And they never pull that trigger on you to, take that chance by offering you. Was that like heartbreaking to you?
Yeah, I think a little bit of heartbreaking, and also I'm young and I'm still figuring out exactly who I am, what I'm passionate about. But then I thought it was what I had to do, and I didn't understand that my family has supported me in whatever I want to do or whatever I need to do for myself. I always had a bit of a sour taste in my mouth watching sporting events going through undergrad because of that. And because maybe I looked at it like, hey, if we were competing, I'd still kick y'all's ass.
Hey.
But I think it's motivational also.
Okay, definitely. Because I see, like, talking to, you're a well-spoken young man, but then watching your highlight tape, I don't see that. I see a beast. I see, the way you fly around, ferocious. Yeah. About what time do you turn that switch on?
I think it's just a part of being a football player. Football is a unnormal game, like you're going to hit somebody. Man. So I think when I'm preparing myself to play the game, it's not the happy-go-lucky process. It's more of unleashing the pent-up anger and the demons I got inside of me, because that's what motivates me on the field. Mm-hmm. Off the field, the pretty stuff motivates me, making a big paycheck, right. Getting respect for my family. When I'm going out there to play, it's every word of disrespect I've gotten in my life that gets me to that edge.
I like that.
Love that.
Yeah, man.
That's dope. Did you feel like growing up with every one of your household being, athletes, that they all have that same approach to their sport?
For sure. So my oldest sister, Darrington, who is a great softball player. So about my junior year of college, she started to shift the end of her career into the medical field. She's now a doctor. Mm-hmm. But the way she took her talents on the softball field and began preparing for medical school and attacking each step, each test, it was motivation for me to put an unbelievable effort onto the football field. And now she is a doctor. And so her graduating, her becoming an outstanding student, things like that, because I know she put that effort in on the softball field, but I just saw it a little bit later in my career when she was doing it academically. And my middle sister, same thing. She was the first Black defender in Big Ten history to do two all Big Ten performances, first team. So 2 years she got that, which is, great motivation.
Wow.
And it's a very competitive family. Like, although I'm proud of my sisters for doing that, I want to be a great football player. I want a gold jacket, and I want a law degree in the future too. Shit.
Right. Right. It's coming, man. Keep working, bro. We could tell, man. Seriously. that you got, you know what I mean, that you got that drive and want to inside of you.
Now, what's your undergrad in, Matt?
What's that?
What's your undergrad in?
My undergraduate degree was history.
Okay.
So with your sisters, you know, taking their academics to the next level, what do you think you plan on doing once football's over?
Once football's over for me, I think I'd be a good counselor in Atlanta someday. I think my experiences with my family, my father's an attorney, have kind of shaped who I want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
And at BC, a lot of reading and writing was a part of what I did in undergrad. And I think I'd like to take my chances of becoming a lawyer.
Oh man, that'll be nice.
That
will be.
Following your dad's footsteps, man.
What kind of lawyer? Any kind of specific one right now?
I think I'd be good doing a lot of criminal defense work, but maybe social justice cases, maybe someday make a big impact on what the Supreme Court sees in our country.
Absolutely.
With that being said, what type of things did you guys do at Boston College in terms of social justice and, you know, with everything going on in America now?
Prior to 2020, I don't think it was asked of leadership to think about the difficult questions that may arise in the locker room, especially racial injustice, equity, and things that a lot of college players would be timid to discuss. I don't think those conversations were pushed upon us prior to this past year. And Coach Hafley gave a big role to the leaders on the team to say, hey, however you guys feel about these things, we need to help bring the team around so that they can understand everybody's perspective. And so Coach Hafley had asked us to have different conversations and different topics to lead discussions within the team. And by the time the season got around, we were a lot more comfortable talking about racial injustice as a team. And things we did were wear T-shirts. We marched around campus. We definitely attended many events over Zoom, seminars. But I think the biggest piece is that Coach Hafley asked the players to really help the team understand perspective, empathy, and other people's feelings about certain issues.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys being a football team, you know, being the leaders on campus, whenever you talk about social injustice, that's huge on campus for sure.
Yeah. How did the community, you know, surrounding BC take that? Like, you know, you guys wearing T-shirts and doing what you did. Did you get a little backlash, or were they like, you know, all behind you?
There was no backlash we received publicly. But also, I don't think we were in a position where we were going against anybody's feelings or bashing what wasn't already known on a Catholic campus. Like BC is a Jesuit Catholic campus, but it has a rich history of racism and sitting black players out of a game because of racial issues. So I think BC has learned from their mistakes and is still learning from their mistakes. But when we raise an issue, I don't think BC is there to combat it because they've experienced it and they're with us. I think a sign of good leadership and good coaching is having a piece of freedom. And like Father Leahy extended freedom to the coaches and the administrators, to extend freedom to us to express how we felt about these racial issues. And so I down the line, I think everybody was able to express how they feel.
That's dope, man. So whatever, you got something, Zay?
No, I was just listening. I'm just listening.
So whenever you got to BC as a freshman, talk about that transition coming from Atlanta, you know, to the Northeast, being a high school student athlete to a college student athlete. You know, you're up there, you're on your own. And, you know, how were you able to transition and, you know, kind of make it work at Boston College?
Initially, it was culture shock for me, but not because I was upset with how things were going, or because I didn't understand going to school with a lot more white folks or Asian folks or whatever it may be. It was just because I didn't know what I necessarily liked anymore. Going to BC, it was less free time, and I'm always with my teammates who are now a bunch of different guys. I guess I lost sight of what I like to do in my free time in Atlanta, or how I did things in high school. So it was just like a complete 360. I'm just doing different things. And the college theme for me throughout the 4 years was continuing to find myself. So each year, I feel like I just kept learning more, relearning more and more about myself. And so that by senior year in Boston, I was like, okay, during my free time, I like to relax. I like to try and hit the golf course. I like this is the type of stuff I like reading. If my teachers give me this stuff, I'm gonna have to spark notes and skim. I started to relearn what I like to do, but not being in the Northeast and not being in a private school college environment like that. When I got there, I had no idea. It was complete lifestyle makeover for me. So the whole time was just regaining that confidence and knowing myself.
No doubt. In terms of athletics, whenever you stepped on a football field, did you feel like it was just like high school, or did you feel like, man, I need to kind of work my way up into what I was at Woodward and kind of make a name for myself like that here at BC?
So as far as hitting the field, I was immediately struck like, okay, football is football. It's going to be the same movements, the same drills. It's going to be a higher level with better players. But I kind of felt just being there every day and working out, I was like, okay, I can do this. But when we started the season, I started to look at the production of the linebackers in front of me, which were great players who even went on to play in the NFL today. Matt Milano, Connor Strahan. So those were a couple of the guys I was watching. And I realized, okay, I need to shape my game so that when it comes my time to perform, I can perform better than these guys have. And we can keep making this team better each and every year. So those guys were a little bit quicker than me. I think a little more explosive. And I think it's a little difference between 18 and 22 versus now going into the NFL. I'm 23, and a lot of guys, I think, reach their peak athleticism in those 23, maybe 24 years. So it's not like guys are overly developed like they are when you get into college as a freshman.
Right.
Again.
That's true. So whenever you got to BC, you did some special teams things on the field your freshman year. Sophomore year, now you're supposed to be the guy, right? You get in, you're the starting linebacker. You're playing good ball, and then Clemson game comes. You got 7 tackles at halftime. You're flying around, and then you tear your ACL, or you have your knee injury. What was that like whenever you kind of went through that process and took you off of the field for quite a long time? What was your mindset through that?
My first thoughts were like, I got to get back and I got to be better than I was before. But after a few weeks of stressing myself out, it just became a day-to-day mindset. I really honed in on just focus on the daily cycle. So go day to day. Tomorrow I want to be a little better, rather than looking like 6 months down the road. I got to be bigger, faster, stronger than I am now. And that's something that I really practice even to this day. But to give you a funny story about getting injured in Death Valley, those guys have always been a great team, and playing them is always one of the better offenses we faced that year. But yeah, we were playing an all right half, and I think we held them to 7 points. But their tempo was so unbelievably fast this game. I think they were running like a play every 12 seconds. So we were
crazy.
So we were out there
Crazy.
We were out there dying. Like, I remember looking over to the Will linebacker, and he's like, I'm getting ready to call a timeout here. And then the nose guard was on the ground, literally laying on his back, like trying to take more time in between the play. So we look
That's
over,
silly.
we get the call. So I line up, and it's a counter play, and a lineman comes from the side and cuts the shit out of me. Like I was on my back before I could even really gather my thoughts on how fast they were going. And so when I got pulled from that game, I mean, it was halftime, but I was cramping up. I needed pickle juice. My body was so effed up because of how fast they were running tempo plays. It was an exhausting experience. And very few people know that part of the game. They just know, you went out there, you performed and got hurt. But, oh, man, that was one of the hardest first halves I've ever been in my life.
Did you train differently for the next year, knowing that you had to play Clemson again twice before you would leave BC? I know you probably did train way differently.
Absolutely. So then that instilled in me, you got to be in better shape. You got to be in tip-top shape if you want to compete with these teams that are already elite, and now they're going offense twice as fast as you were expecting. So we got to. That built upon my knowledge of how we're going to win in this conference.
Yeah, for sure. You talk about that workout experience and, being in good shape for the season. Talk a little bit about what you're about on Instagram. You always put the recycle symbol up. Talk a little bit about that and kind of how that applies to you as a student athlete.
So I think it applies to me because some sayings that go with it are like Rome was not built in a day. And, what you do yesterday is no longer important because today's a new day. And for me, it's because I really love having the big goals at the end of a journey. And like I have everything written out that I want to accomplish in my rookie NFL season. But more importantly than that, the little things that I want to accomplish today are going to carry the majority of my focus. Those goals ought to be there and they're important, but what should be most important is the current moment and the desire to win the daily challenges rather than win the ultimate challenge. So I started in high school, and me and my coach would say, recycle the grind. That's what it means to us. But it's that recycle symbol that it never ends. Even when you do accomplish your goals, that next day you have to have another daily reminder that, okay, I have to still get better. Levante David held up the Super Bowl trophy, but the next day he still had a job, and that's to get better at football so that his kids and his family can eat.
For sure. Recycle the grind, man. That's
I like that.
That's intense, boy. That's intense. Recycle the grind every day. So you obviously you continue to recycle the grind. You redshirted the next year due to your injury, and then coming back redshirt junior year. What was the mindset like taking the field after sitting out, your true sophomore season?
The mindset was lead as best as I can, dominate special teams, and become the best linebacker on the team. And I think it motivated me to have watched the team practice, work out, and finish the season. But I was taking notes on what was going on. I knew that because of the guys we were leading, we needed a vocal leader, somebody who was really a different animal when he stepped onto the field. Like we didn't need guys to come to practice and complain about how cold it was or how boring it was. We needed guys to go into practice and knock somebody's shit loose. So I felt like that was a niche I found on the team, that we needed a leader to get guys going every single morning. And it motivated me watching with crutches and going through that long 2017 season from the sideline, that when I came back in the next spring, I worked on my knee as hard as I could. And when it was time to come back, every day I came into the facility with that demon in me.
No doubt. And every time I seen you kind of, before that season, I always ask you, how you feeling, man? I always say, I'm feeling dangerous.
That's right.
Feeling dangerous.
That don't stop.
Man.
Was that a mindset that you took in to the football complex every day? Like, I'm feeling dangerous today.
Yeah, and Coach Camp, he was always like, man, if you don't got nothing to lose, that's danger right there. Like, if you got nothing to lose, that's danger. And that's how I felt. I'm like, I'm coming off injury. Expectations I have are work hard, and at some point I'll get an opportunity to kick some ass. So I have nothing to lose. I'm blessed. I got a great family. They want me to chase my dreams. I just felt like in college I was going to let it rip for my last 2 seasons there and completely just be a dangerous man. Daily cycle, stay focused, and give it my all.
So that year you was out, did you have, and I'm pretty sure you did, like dark days where, you found it hard to just, find motivation to get through, and if so, who did you lean on to, get you out of those places?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it was multiple people I led on, and at times it was the wrong people. It was leading me in bad directions. When I was going through my injury, there was another couple guys on crutches and rehabbing their prospective injuries. But at times we would get together and be on the melancholy train and end up just drinking or going out on our crutches, just doing some shit we shouldn't be doing. And that was at times when I leaned on the other guys who were also going through tough experiences. But then there was other times I would lean on my guys who were in the mix and they were playing and they were doing their thing. The person that took over for me when I was injured, his name's John Lamont, and he's a linebacker the exact same year as me, one of my best friends and my brothers. But when I would get together with him, we would talk about the next game, maybe even watch some tape, maybe just chill out and hang out. And so leaning on my friends that were still in the mix really helped me, and leaning on my friends that maybe weren't in the mix, maybe that hurt us collectively as a group.
Wow.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, that's serious right there.
Coming back from a serious injury like that, it could go, one of two ways. You see people who tear their ACL and they're never the same, and then you see people come back and they're, even better. And a lot of that has to do with the mentality and who you lean on, and you were able to find the right people to use their shoulder, and made it happen, made it back on the field even better than you were before.
Absolutely.
And to add on to that, Ty, it's not always about just rehab and recovery. It's time and place too. Our bodies are so dynamic. Sometimes a doctor puts something in there and we don't react well, and vice versa. Sometimes he puts something in there and God just blesses us to react very well. Some guys return sooner, but I think it's time and place too. And there is nothing wrong with hoping and praying. Maybe it's the best of things, because everything else is changing. You never know, but you can always have hope. That's up to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Always gotta have God, right?
Exactly.
For sure.
That's a choice.
Talk about your faith and kind of how that played a role in your football career.
So I grew up Roman Catholic and always going to church on Sunday, kind of always going to those long masses with hundreds of people, and we stand up for a long time. And when it's time to do communion be like 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Folks be shaking hands for an hour at church, bro. I'm telling you.
All right, but I go to the bathroom every time.
but going to BC, I think just showed me a lot of good things that come with faith, and how to treat others, how to love thy neighbor like you love yourself. Just really things that instilled hope and positivity in me is what I grasped from BC. And although I do have things I will say BC did not do very well, like I think they're still building upon the diversity of the school. You know that, Ty.
Oh yeah.
But they still live by those Catholic Jesuit principles. And I think they do a good job of pushing their students to do good things, set the world aflame, ever to excel. It's great mantras for Jesuit schools and the Catholic community.
Yeah, for sure. So, in the middle of your junior year, you guys, well, in the junior year, I should say, you guys lost your coach. And then, senior year, you guys get a new leader in the football building. What was that change like? And kind of how did you approach, a new coach and a new staff coming in the building?
It was kind of a breath of fresh air. We had gone through the same thing for the course of 4 years, and we were kind of generating similar results. We go to a bowl game, either win 6 or 7 games, be about the 500 mark. So Coach Hafley came in, and we were just expecting us to get so much more out of the season and maybe win them all or whatever it may be. But we just also had some hope from a new experience. And it was a breath of fresh air that rolled through the building. And me personally, I wanted to just fight hard to be the best leader I could be to help bridge the gap of Coach Haff and the new team and the new players. Yeah.
For sure. So what was the challenge like having to learn a whole new playbook going into your last year of football?
So it was a little bit difficult because I didn't start to feel really involved in knowing what other teams were doing to us until maybe about midway through the year. Whereas when you're running a defense for 4 years, about 2 years in, you're like, okay, I'm very sharp. But it was not as bad for me because I was a starter and I was getting plenty of reps and plenty of walkthrough time. And Coach Hafley did a great job of keeping us locked in on Zoom when school got canceled and we all got sent home for COVID.
How was it playing through the COVID for you?
For me, it was a great season. It was a great opportunity to play again this year, but not having anybody at our home stadium, I think, hurt us at times because you spend all week excited to play the home games, but you're not really getting the home game feel.
Mm-hmm.
And going away to a couple stadiums were like 25%, maybe 50% capacity. But overall, college football is also about that atmosphere, that hype. Maybe seeing your girlfriend in the stands when you score. And we definitely missed out on a little bit of that last year.
Yeah, for sure. So like, give us an example of a day for Max, like before the COVID. So a day of, being a student athlete, usually your wake up time to work out, to practice, to class, all that. What did your day consist of?
So BC always got me going early. We were an early morning practice team. So my days at BC would be an early wake up, an early breakfast. And before we get out on the field, some sort of treatment, whether I get in the hot tub and roll out or stretch out. And then when we'd hit the gym, workout or field work, whatever it may be. And from there, practice. And when we get out of practice, we have the ability to go to training table and then do our classes in the afternoon. But during summer training, a schedule for me would be like get that workout in and breakfast and all that early, a nap for the afternoon, and then we would hit the facility again in the evening with Coach Scott McClafferty, who was my strength coach for a couple years there at BC.
What was the time that you used to wake up in the morning during school hours?
It was probably about 5:30 throughout those seasons at BC.
And what time did you usually get to bed at night?
I was always a early bed guy, so I'd try and be in there by 9:30.
Gotcha.
If it was 10 or 10:30, that was what it was.
Did you do a lot of partying or anything?
Yeah, for sure, especially in undergrad.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman, just playing special teams, I remember being on the sideline because, I mean, you can only run down on kickoff and punt and KOR so many times. Like it was a great job, and I'm still fighting for that job in the NFL now. But I would be standing on the sidelines freshman year, and a couple of my buddies would come up like, "Hey, where are we going after the game?" That type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially freshman year, before I had a big role where I needed to be really physically tuned in every week. I was drinking more beer than I ever had in my life, and I think that was part of the culture shock.
Right.
In high school, I mean, I'd have a Four Loko at the homecoming event, but when I got to college, folks was just drinking beer, and I was like, okay, maybe I like beer.
Maybe I do.
Did your mindset kind of switch whenever you got into a bigger role, a leadership role, in terms of partying and going out a lot?
Yeah, I think after that freshman year bowl game, my mindset switched because I was like, okay, I'm here at BC, and I finished my first season. I contributed a lot, but now it's time for me to try and find a role on the team and now elevate this team. So if we won 6 games that year, my mind was locked in. Okay, now next year we got to win 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
So that's what I got to be working towards.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So looking back on everything now, you probably don't realize as you're going through it, but sitting here and, you're a part of the, Las Vegas Raiders now. What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned from your parents, growing up?
Learning from my parents growing up, I think I learned hard work, most importantly, but respecting others and treating the CEO or the head coach just as you would treat the janitor at the facility. Absolutely. I think those were 3 things that my parents raising me, just what they instilled in me by the way they acted while I was around.
Yeah, for sure. What were some of the biggest things you learned from your sisters?
Again, the hard work piece, but never limiting yourself. Like I said earlier, with my sister transitioning from student athlete to
doctor,
right, a woman in the professional field, and likewise with my middle sister.
You got a powerful family,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You got a real powerful family. Did you ever feel any pressure that you couldn't handle? Being the youngest, they set the bar real high. Did you ever feel like that you had pressure that you couldn't handle?
I never felt the pressure, but also I'm from Black Hollywood. Like Atlanta is all, very successful, very known Black families who have a great big culture and both parents are around. So I'm from a special place where I think a lot of Black kids, and not only me who went to a private school, but a lot of Black kids from Westlake or from the South Side feel like they have an opportunity there in Atlanta. So I don't think the pressure was there, but I felt like it's a duty for me because I've had easier circumstances than a lot, and I've been blessed with a beautiful family and 2 parents that are around who work and they do well, so that I have to take my successes to another level. I have to really give back even harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's for me. It was simple.
Right.
That's Stay prayed up, bro. Stay prayed up. Let God direct you, man. I'm just listening to you talk about it, bro. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's crazy when you have powerful people around you, like you said, especially your family, and you want to, raise that level, like you said, man. Let God just take you, bro. I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's important for people, not just student athletes, but for all of us human beings. Just let God take you, bro, and direct you, man. You know what I mean? Whatever He wants to do in your life, instead of worry. Don't serious, man. You know what I mean? You got me over here. I got the goosebumps. Think about it, man. Because you know what I mean? It's serious. Whenever you stop, when you stop and you think I just want to let God direct my life instead of you know what I mean? Like you said, it's a daily conquer. You know what I mean? Like every day you're trying to recycle the grind, like you said, instead of worrying about the next day. You know what I mean? I'm this conversation is definitely enlightening for me personally. So
yeah, we gotta get your whole family on, man.
Right.
You, your sisters, and your mom and your dad. That'll be a crazy conversation to kind of hear about.
Next time.
All of the different experiences. Because I know you guys all had, your own unique experiences, as student athletes and a family of student athletes. You don't find, a family as powerful as yours, too often. So.
Christmas competitions is real.
He said Christmas competitions.
Yeah.
No, but this was good, man. We appreciate you hopping on. You guys got any further questions before we wrap it up with Max?
Man, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. Good luck with your future endeavors. I'm excited to see you play on Sundays. Also, I think what you preach about recycling the grind, I think that's a thing that a lot of young student athletes need to hear and really understand that concept, because there's so much meaning behind that. It's powerful in its own self. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm excited to watch you. You know what I mean? I heard about you, heard good things about you, and finally get to meet you via internet. But I'm excited. I'm real excited to see you play, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's been special, man. We're gonna end this and give a shout out to Woodward Academy, man. We're gonna give a shout out to Andrew. We're gonna give a shout out to JR. The whole Atlanta, man. We're gonna shout y'all out. Max is putting you guys on the back and doing a lot of good things for Woodward, man. Andrew, shout out to Drew, just getting that Super Bowl ring too. So a lot of good things happening for you guys down in Woodward, and the tradition continues with you.
That's right, Ty.
So appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks, Max.
For sure. All right, Doc.
All right.
So that we have it, man. We we wrapping up a Good Status podcast. We got my boy Max on, and we'll catch y'all next episode, right?
No doubt. All
right, man. You got to make sure you follow us down here. We're about to get it up. Keep it going. Let's get us to 300. Let's get us to 300 now.
Yeah, we almost there. Get us to 300, man. We might do another giveaway.
I forgot.
But make sure y'all follow us, man. Everybody out there, we keep supporting us. We appreciate all three of us. We want to keep giving you great content. We're gonna keep this thing rolling.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. Status Podcast.